game, catching a roadway. A big surprise, I'm gonna rise and flash my tooth cane. All the buff dudes, safe on the beach food. They're gonna need a bigger boat and barrels real soon. I'm a sea king, a CGI thing. I'm here to eat and bare my teeth and shake a tail fin. I'm lonely and taking a ride. Lured in by your bucket of chum. It's one weakness I can't hide. Take me to your bucket of chum.
Welcome back to Bucket of Chum, you chum guzzlers. This week, we're talking about Ozark Sharks from 2016, directed by Misty Talley. Misty Talley has also directed Zombie Shark, which we covered in year 1 of the show, I believe. And they have also directed one of the greatest sharksploitation movies of all time, Santa Jaws. Now, I haven't talked about Santa Jaws on my show per se, but I did go on to Bad Movies, Worst People and talked about that movie, and it is up on my channel as well, so make sure you go and check that out. Only the audio version, there's no video version on YouTube, so it is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get those. But yeah, that movie is a hell of a lot of fun, so when I saw that she directed this one, I was really excited to check it out. Let's just get right into the Letterboxd plot synopsis. Take a bite out of summer. A picturesque family vacation to the Ozarks goes sideways when a group of bull sharks show up just in time for the big fireworks festival that the town holds every year. That's pretty much, that's the whole plot description, and honestly, it's like, yep, that's pretty much all you need to know. You don't really need to know anything else, because that pretty much just covers all of it. And it actually has an average rating of 3.5 stars on Letterboxd, which is super high, considering a lot of the movies that I watch. This was also me watching this movie. I got super baked, and it was a great time. But honestly, when I saw that rating, I was very, very excited for it, because I think last week's movie didn't even actually have a rating on Letterboxd. It was like mostly 1 stars and everything. But this was great. We're going to get into poster expectations, and if you haven't listened to the show before, basically what I do is I take a look at the poster before I watch the movie and just kind of write down what I kind of expect from it. Now, the poster for this movie, the one that at least that's on Letterboxd, is terrible. It's just, but it's also kind of terrible in all of the right ways. Like, it's just got like this CGI shark trying to attack a woman getting on the dock, but it's like very poorly rendered. And the shark looks like a CGI shark, so like it may actually look like what the shark looks like in the movie, which would be super rare if it does. I mean, it's very rare that these movies with the posters and the sharks actually matching, like they don't look the fucking same hardly ever. But yeah, that would be a pretty big deal if it did. But before we go any further, if you're enjoying the show and you want to support the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/bucketofchum. And each month I do an exclusive episode. I release episodes early when I get them done on time. And if you can't do that, if you could just go over to the YouTube channel, or if you're watching on the YouTube channel, hi. Like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps it out. And if you're an audio listener, if you could just go to wherever it is that you're listening and just leave a rating or a review, it really just helps get the word for the show out there. And I know I have to say this all the time, but like, I want to get the word out for the show, all right? I want the show to grow. I want it to get bigger. I want to have more guests and all that kind of stuff. But I need to see the show growing in order to do that sort of thing. So make sure you can just help out in any way that you can. It would be greatly appreciated. But for now, there's nothing else left to do other than to whip out my Big Betty, and let's dive in. So we start off with a couple of dudes and a couple of girls. They're just setting off like fireworks on like this small beach by a river, and they're just hooting and hollering, having a great time with this. They're setting off like cherry bombs or something and then throwing them into the water. And then the girls start getting into the water and they start like getting the guys to come in. You know, everyone's getting all horned up. And then one of them spots a shark fin and then just starts walking towards it to see what it is. But then her boyfriend comes up from behind her, scares the shit out of her, and it's like, oh my god. And he's like, here, look what I got you. And he lights a sparkler and hands it to her. And she is fascinated by this. This is like a 25-year-old woman, by the way. And she's acting like she's never seen a sparkler before, which is just insane to me. And so she calls her friend over and is like, oh my god, look at this. But then her friends are nowhere to be seen. So the both of them start like trying to look around for her. And then every once in a while, we just keep getting like the shark POV as well. And then the shark pulls Sparkler's boyfriend under the water and starts splashing around. And one of the other friends comes up and tries to save him, but just ends up with an arm a severed arm in his hand. And the water is also murky as hell in this. So, like, the whole movie, anytime we see a shark underwater, it's like stock footage with this murky filter on it, or it's just plain murky water. And that's pretty much it. So it's really hard to see. We can't see shit underwater, despite the fact that the filmmakers keep showing us shots of underwater. But yeah, anyways, the friend tries to make it out, but gets taken out by the CGI shark. And then there's just like splashing and blood sprays onto the sparkler girl. And she climbs up onto a log, and she's the only survivor now. And they're in like 2 feet of water, so there's like no way the shark is actually doing anything. Like, I know sharks attack in shallow water, but just judging by like the size of the shark and the depth of the water it was in, don't really match up. So I love it. This is the kind of shit that I'm here for. Because this isn't a serious movie like Shark Warning or anything like that. It's just much more enjoyable so far in that respect. But then up next, we go to this family getting ready to leave for vacation or camping or something. And the grandson, Harrison, is playing Go Fish with his grandma. And then his sister, Molly, behind him is like helping her cheat. The fact that they're playing Go Fish is just so on the nose and dumb. It's kind of amazing. Like, it's just kind of great. And she's like this angsty teen goth, maybe not goth, like more on the emo kind of side. But she's less than excited to go camping, obviously, because she's all angsty and upset. And then as they drive up to the campground, we get 2 bikini babes in floaties drinking beer. And so we kind of follow them for a minute, and they're bitching about one of their friends or something, just doing dumb girl talk. And then they start taking selfies, and then when they look at the photo, they're like, oh my god, this water does nothing for my complexion. Meanwhile, in the background, there's a fucking shark fin, but neither of them notice this somehow because they're too obsessed with how they're looking in these photos. And then one of the girls is pulled under, and then the one taking the selfies turns and looks, and there's just like this bloody floaty there, and she's just like, where'd you go? I don't see you. I'm like, you are dumb, and I'm like, you pretty much deserve to die at this point because, good lord. And again, we don't really see much in the way of these kills. Like, it's all just very quick shots and whatnot. I guess they're just kind of building up to it a little bit, which is fine. But I feel like in these movies, you don't really need to build up too much because the CGI sharks, they always just look like the CGI sharks. We're not building up to like a big practical effect or anything like that. So I don't know. I don't really see the point in trying to build this up much, but so far it's pretty entertaining. Like, it's still funny. Just the way they're portraying some of these characters, they're just like, it's very satirical in a way, but so far it's pretty good. And so this family pulls up to the campground, and then Harrison spots some like bikini babes at a picnic table, and then he asks his mommy for permission to go and talk to them. And so she's like, oh, okay, you can. I'm like, okay, whatever. So they get signed in, and they get the keys from this guy, Jones, who's working at the bait shop / like campground headquarters, whatever you want to call it. And then we go back over to Molly, and she's just being all angsty, and she keeps checking her messages for like some boy. She's like, oh no, the boy's not messaging me. Oh no, I'm angsty. And then Harrison wraps up his conversation with the bikini babes as his dad is yelling at them. But he didn't get a chance to wrap his penis first. Darn it all to heck, guys. That's just unfortunate. And then Molly goes and reads by the water as everyone else unpacks. And Harrison comes out and says, like, hey, can you help us unpack? And she's like, no. I'm like, okay, that's great. And she's got her foot dangling in the water too, like get a little bit of a tease, like, oh, is she gonna get attacked by the shark? No, not yet. And just as we feel like a shark is about to attack her, her foot is pulled out of the water, and she turns around, and her boyfriend Curtis has arrived. So the one that she was all upset about that she wasn't getting messages for, he's finally arrived, so she's happy now. And I guess he kind of saved her from being eaten by a shark, I guess. So Curtis is a little bit of a hero right now. And so these two start making out, and then Mom is just sitting there like kind of watching them for a little bit and like smiling. Super weird. And the dad comes, and he's like, oh, I just wanted to spend some time with my girl, just me and her in the canoe, just like we used to do. But now her boyfriend's here, so, oh no. And then Grandma and all the kids get into the car to go get food while Mom and Dad stay behind to play hide the fish being his penis in this scenario. I'm on a penis kick today, guys. So let's just roll with it. And so Harrison and Curtis, when they all arrive at the main campground site again, they're going there to get food to the place that they just were like 5 minutes ago. I'm like, I don't know how long it took you to unpack with like 5 of you in the car and nothing on the roof as far as I remember. It couldn't have taken long to unpack, so I don't know why they didn't just grab food there and then bring it back. But, what the fuck do I know? Harrison and Curtis are the ones to go and order the food from Jones, and then Molly and Grandma go off on their own. And then Curtis asks the guy for some mosquito stuff, and then Jones comes back with a fucking rifle and just slams down and says, like, the woods ain't nothing to mess with. But fucking hell, like, America, fuck yeah. Good God. And then he goes on a tirade about, like, messing with animals and, like, how people have gone missing and blah, blah, blah. And then Harrison and Curtis just kind of laugh it off, and then they head out like, okay, thanks, crazy man. And then we go back with Molly and Grandma, and they've gone to what looks like the spot from the beginning of the movie, but we come back to this location a little bit later, and it's like, I guess they're trying to use the same location as 2 different locations. So just if you watch this movie, you're like, hey, that's the same spot. It's like, it is, but it's also not in the movie land. So just go with that in case you get confused watching Ozark Sharks. Grandma is standing in the water, and she's asking Molly, like, why you always got your head in that book? You shouldn't read too much because you might just miss something big. And then a shark comes and attacks Grandma. The shark just jumps out of the water, bites on Grandma's head. Molly sees this and starts fucking screaming. And so she runs back to Curtis and Harrison, who are, like, oogling over Jones's sexy truck that has, like, this harpoon cannon on top. Boy, guys, I wonder if that's going to come into play later. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Oh. So anyways, she tells him what happened, and naturally no one believes her. They're like, oh, no, you're crazy. And then she's like, oh, yeah, I think Grandma's dead. And you think she's dead? A shark bit her fucking head off. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Grandma's dead. She didn't get run over by a fucking reindeer. A fucking shark bit her head off. She did. And Jones is kind of listening, and like, just with his acting, I can't tell if he believes her, doesn't care, or I don't know. I can't tell what's going through this man's head right now. So Harrison and Curtis go to this beach, and then Harrison gets into the water because they can see the grandmother's hat stuck on a log or something, but they're like, oh, I don't know what that is. I'm going to go in the water and see. Oh, okay. So he goes, he gets it, and it's like, oh, look, it's Grandma's hat. No shit. And then Curtis looks down and sees like a severed arm touching his leg. And then the shark returns, and Harrison starts swimming back to shore as it chases him. And then this is where they kind of use some stock footage where they just have like this murky filter over top of it. Again, I don't really mind it when movies like this mix the 2 mediums together. But in this plot description, it says bull sharks. I don't think the CGI sharks nor this stock footage even looks like bull sharks. So I don't know if the plot description is wrong or it doesn't matter. I would have to assume bull sharks because it feels like this is like a freshwater river that leads into the ocean or something like that. But again, I don't really know. It's not super clear. At the end of the day, it actually really doesn't matter. But just if you're watching this movie and you're like, that doesn't look like a very scary shark. And it's like, well, yeah, because they use stock footage of like some shark that's like pretty docile in comparison, I would say. But anyways, as Harrison is coming back to shore, Jones shoots the shark. And Jones says like, oh, them dangerous animals I was talking about. And well, yeah, no shit. Thank you. And so Curtis calls the cops, and they just basically hang up on him. They're like, no, we don't believe you. Again, America. And Curtis then says, Ozark Sharks, roll credits. And like, this is right after Jones explains how the sharks come up to give birth in the warm water sometimes. But something has riled this shark up. I don't know why they think this or know this. Spoiler alert, we're going to find out later that it might be because of the people setting off the cherry bombs in the water earlier. Doesn't make any sense. I don't think that's actually what's going on. And if that is their explanation, it's really kind of dumb and doesn't make any sense. They may as well have just not done anything and just been like, yeah, man, there's just sharks here. What the fuck are you going to do? Here they are. Gotta deal with them somehow. I don't really need too much of an explanation. Just show me funny kills and whatnot. That's it. And then Molly suddenly remembers that their parents are taking the canoe out. And so, of course, we go to the parents. We see them taking the canoe out. Neither one of them are dressed for this occasion. In my opinion, I've only been canoeing a handful of times, and just they're wearing like fucking jeans, and I guess the plaid shirt kind of goes with camping out in the fucking woods and whatnot. But I don't know, everything else they're wearing, just I'm just like, why wouldn't you have like shorts or a swimsuit on? I mean, I guess there's mosquitoes and whatnot. And, oh, right, because they don't have mosquito spray, right? Because all they have are guns to shoot mosquitoes, apparently. So we go back with the rest of our gang, and Harrison says he's going to go back to check up on mom and dad, while Curtis and Jones call animal control. And I'm like, well, if the fucking cops didn't believe you, I highly doubt animal control is going to believe you. And, I don't know, whatever. And so Harrison gets to the cabin, but, mom and dad have already left, so he calls out for them, and then he tries to phone them, but their phone starts ringing, like, right on the chair, so they forgot to bring their phone with them. Huh, typical parents, am I right? And so he calls Molly, and he says he's going to drive around the lake and start looking for them. And then Molly asks Jones if he has a boat, and Curtis is like, no, don't. And then Jones is like, yeah, he's right, we can't go out on a boat. We need to have more firepower. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. Like, these three have basically just met, and now they're already starting, like, a fucking shark hunting gang, which is just crazy. But, I mean, a lot of fun. This movie moves pretty fast. Like, we don't really fuck around a whole lot, which is kind of the appeal for it for me right now. I'm like, I like this. We're not dicking around too much, and when we are dicking around, it's kind of funny. So far, I'm all here for this. And, I mean, basically, this just looks like most other Sci-Fi Channel movies. I don't know that it was a Sci-Fi Channel movie per se, but it has that sort of style to it. But I would say so far it's a little bit better than at least the last couple of Asylum movies I've watched. I mean, certainly better than Shark Warning so far, because that movie just didn't know what it wanted to be. Whereas I feel like Misty's movies, they have a better idea of what they're trying to do, and, the resources, and, and they understand the kind of genre they're in, this like bizarre sharksploitation genre where they're not trying to make it serious. It's just a hell of a lot of fun. So these guys go to Jones's place, and he's got like a wall of guns and axes, which is supposed to look pretty impressive, but I don't know, man, I've seen better, but doesn't matter. But they do start picking up some weapons here. And they bring this pitchfork that has machetes. It looks like a trident pitchfork. It looks like it's like for baling hay or whatever. And there's just machetes taped to the end of it. So I'm like, okay, that is pretty fucking hilarious. I'm on board with this whole shitty weapons thing right now. And then we go to some random dude who's in hip waders fishing in the water. And as he reels in a fish, there's only half of it there. Kind of just like last week's movie too, except this is a little bit more entertaining. And he gets eaten here. Again, we don't see much other than some like severed limbs after the attack, and again, a little bit of stock footage. But Jones and them arrive like just after this has happened, and Jones stabs the shark with the pitchfork trident. But then they see 6 fins swimming down the river, hence the sharks in the title. Not just Ozark Shark, Ozark Sharks, because there's more than one of them. Crazy. There's 6 of them. I didn't actually keep track of the kills, so I don't actually know if they killed all 6, but I kind of feel like they probably did. I don't know. Maybe we'll figure it out as we go along here. And this is where Jones drops the line, we're going to need a bigger everything. Jaws reference. You gotta get one in there, right? And anyways, Harrison continues to drive alongside the lake, calling for mom and dad, and he hears a woman calling for help, and so he follows her voice, and it's the woman from the beginning of the movie, Sparkler, the lady who was just very impressed with sparklers, and she's still on the log. So this is where I'm like, oh, okay, this is not the same location that Grandma died in, even though I'm pretty sure they filmed it in the same location, but yeah, they're just using it as 2 different places. So Harrison starts getting in the water and tells her not to worry, and she's trying to like tell him something, but he's like, no, don't worry, I got this, I'm a macho man, you're a bikini babe, we're gonna solve this. He doesn't say that, that's what he's like, that's underlying what he's saying, right? So he's slowly trying to make his way to her, but then he gets scared when like this severed leg touches his leg, and so he jumps out of the water. And then Sparkler finally gets a word in, and she's like, hey, maybe you could use that canoe over there, so you don't have to actually step in the water. And he's like, yep, that might be a good idea. Yeah, good job, Harrison. Stop thinking with your dick for 2 seconds. Good lord. And now Curtis and Molly go back to Jones's, and they start playing with some of the weapons. One of them is a canoe paddle, with barbed wire wrapped around it that also electrocutes things. So again, I know I was making fun of like this weapons wall, but I'm super on board with it now because the next thing Curtis pulls up is this katana that has 2 blades on it, like just side by side. Fucking hilarious. So I take back everything I said about this weapons wall because this is just dope. This is hilarious. And then he shows them a bear trap that he wants to use on the sharks. Now, spoiler alert, I don't think they actually end up using this bear trap at any point, which I was really hoping they would do because they do this little bit here where Curtis is like, we can't use this. It says bear on it. Darn. And so Jones just takes a piece of duct tape, covers that part up, and writes shark on it. And he's like, there, now we can use it. I'm like, this is so dumb. I love it. I'm all here for this. This is awesome right now. I don't even care about the logistics of trying to use a bear trap on a shark. I just want to see it. So any future filmmakers out there, if you're listening, bear traps and sharks, or if you could, there's this old meme where it's like a bear riding the back of a shark with machine guns. If you could somehow make that into a movie, I know there's not really much to go on there, but I don't know, do something with that because that would be fucking great. And then he pulls out Big Betty. Not his penis. And it's a powerful air cannon that shoots out pretty much anything that you put in it. Jones basically also won't let Curtis, use anything. Curtis keeps asking, oh, can I use this? And he's like, no. Can I use this? No. And then he's like, well, what can I use? So then he throws him a grenade and is like, well, when the shark eats you, you can blow it up. And then he laughs, saying he won't get swallowed. And now, spoiler alert, that actually doesn't happen. I'm like, oh man, we're going to set this up. He's going to get swallowed. He's going to set the grenade off. But that doesn't actually happen at all. Yeah, we'll get more into that later. But that's like a super huge missed opportunity, if you ask me. But anyways, Jones then gives Molly a gun who's like, oh no, I don't know how to shoot guns. Like, take it. Okay. So they load up the harpoon cannon truck to go and look for Molly's parents. And again, the parents are still out on the water, and now they're drinking a couple of beers. And I think the dad said that he stole them from Harrison. Oh, naughty, naughty daddy. And then we can see the shark fin just kind of swimming in the background as the dad talks about how he doesn't approve of Molly dating Curtis because Curtis is Harrison's friend. So they were friends before Curtis started dating Molly. Oh, who cares? And then the boat gets rocked and they finally spot a shark fin and they start to row the boat. And then the boat is rocked. The dad drops his oar and he goes to grab it, and the mom's like, no, don't grab it, just leave it. And he's like, no, I got it. So when he does, he gets like 2 or 3 fingers bitten off of his hand. So he's not in great shape right now. They get his hands all wrapped, it was one hand all wrapped up and whatnot. And then mom finds a flare gun, and as she's about to shoot one up in the air, a shark breaches, and she manages to fucking shoot it right in the mouth, and it sinks down. I'm assuming this is one of the shark deaths, I suppose. So I don't think we're counting the one Jones already shot when he was rescuing Sparkler, or no, after the hip waiter guy. So I think in total there were 7 sharks. So this is like the first one to die, I think. Again, I'm not 100% sure. So I think we're at 1 so far. So we got 5 more to go. But then she does manage to shoot an actual flare off into the air, and then Jones and the gang spot it, so they start heading towards it. And Harris has rescued Dawn. Sparkler's name is Dawn. I'm not calling her fucking Dawn because my stepmother's name was close to something like that, and I don't want to fucking say it. Also, Sparkler's just way more funny to me. So he starts asking her what happened, blah, blah, blah. And she tells him, there are multiple sharks, and she's seen them, kind of swimming in and out of this river all day. And then she tells him about the fireworks celebration happening and that there's going to be a ton of people there. And I guess when Harrison was talking to these bikini babes earlier in the movie, they kind of invited him to this fireworks celebration. So again, we're hearing a lot about this fireworks celebration, a lot of talk about fireworks. We go back with mom and dad, and mom is paddling away as dad is trying to tend to his hand, and they spot the shark fin coming towards them as they head to shore. And this was some practical work here too. Mostly the fin, but I think a lot of the times when we see shark fins in this movie, except for the one shot where it was multiple fins, I think that there's a lot of practical shark fin work, which was pretty cool. And I did see a little bit of underwater practical shark too. There are just some very quick shots, and I don't know if maybe they just pulled it from one of their other movies or something, because I don't really know why they didn't use it more, because I'm like, I would kill to see more of this. I don't care if you mix in the shitty CGI and the practical work. Like, that's the kind of shit I'm here for. Anyways, the shark breaches as they pull up to the dock, and it's just about to land on them, and then it's harpooned by Jones and the gang. So they arrive just in time to save the day. So I guess this is now, we're at 2 dead sharks, so we got 3 more to go. So Jones and the gang bring Mom and Dad to shore, and then Mom asks where Harrison is, and then we go to him and Sparkler canoeing down the river. And she says, this is where she says, like, oh, it's all mine and my friend's fault because they were throwing fireworks or cherry bombs or something in the water. I'm like, no, this is just nonsense. Like, there's no explanation. This isn't an explanation. And if this is their actual explanation for this, it's really dumb. Again, we don't really need this. And Curtis tries calling Harrison, but Harrison, I guess, lost his phone in the river when he was rescuing Sparkler or something. And then Mom and Dad finally learn about Grandma's fate. They're a little bit sad. Probably not as sad as they should be, but they're like, eh. And then Jones cuts them off as he gets Big Betty ready. And he says that, like, oh, they're burning daylight here. And somehow it's not until now that Mom and Dad recognize who Jones is. They're like, oh, that's the bait shop guy. And then Mom is like, oh, we shouldn't trust him. He's just a bait shop attendant. And I'm like, you mean the bait shop guy who's talking about killing a big fish? You shouldn't listen to him? I'm like, where's the logic in that? That doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm like, oh, because he's like some redneck hillbilly? I'm like, they're probably the ones you want to listen to when it comes to killing big shit. I mean, even if it doesn't make any sense, I'm just going to be like, man, I take your word for it, because I probably don't know what I'm doing in this situation. They've probably killed big shit before. Maybe he's killed sharks before too. You don't know. So why wouldn't you listen to him? God damn it, Mother. Jesus. But then Curtis is like, yeah, like, listen about all these sharks that we just killed. And, like, he tells them about what happened and whatnot. I mean, obviously, they just witnessed him killing a shark right there, basically. So why? Oh, this is even more dumb than I initially realized. But, oh, good God. They're like, okay, we trust this guy. And then Jones is, like, being badass and giving some, like, speech and coming up with a plan. And then a shark jumps up, bites his arm off. He falls into the water, and he's all eaten up. Curtis runs to try and save him, but he doesn't. He doesn't make it there in time. And then they all go back to the cabin porch and tend to Dad's wounds and try to figure out how to find Harrison. And then the cabin starts rocking, and they say, oh no, we're on water. And I'm like, hardly. I'm like, this porch is hardly on the water. I'm like, okay, fine, we'll just roll with it. And then a shark jumps onto the porch in between Mom and everybody else. Dad starts beating the shark with a piece of wood or something. And then Molly comes back with the electrical barbed wire paddle thing and kills the shark. So, oh yeah, so that's like 3 now, right? We're at 3 kills. What did we have? We had the one on the dock just before this. We have this one. We had the harpooned one. From the hip weighting guy, so that's 3, and there's 6, so I think there's 3 more. Oh wow, I'm unless I've just forgotten already, but either way, this is like 3 or 4 sharks already, so I think they do actually end up killing all of them, if I'm remembering the rest of this right. And Curtis starts like making like dad jokes, and he's like, oh, that was pretty shocking. And Molly tells him to stop making jokes and whatnot. I'm like, but I disagree. Like, let this man cook, all right? He's onto something here. And he's like, yeah, I'm nervous. This is what I do when I'm nervous. And I'm like, I totally get that. So please keep doing it. It's keeping me fucking entertained. Back with Harrison and Sparkler, they continue rowing, and they're like following this shark up the river, heading towards this fireworks celebration. And they come across Mom and Dad's broken paddle. And so Harrison starts calling for them and like thinking the worst. And Sparkler like calms him down and says like, we need to keep moving. Now, we go back with everybody else, and they drive up in Jones's truck, and they find Harrison's car, or the car he was driving or whatever, and they start looking for him, trying to figure out where he is. And then Curtis says, like, oh, you know what? He's probably with those bikini babes at the fireworks show. We're still talking about fireworks show. Great. And so immediately everyone is like, oh, people will be in the water. That's where the sharks are going, and Harrison. I'm like, okay, we're just making some logical leaps here, I guess, because, like, why would you assume that that's where he's going? So, like, you thought Harrison was like, oh, man, everyone's getting eaten by sharks? I'm going to go hang out with those bikini babes. I'm like, he has been thinking with his dick a lot, but not that much, so, I don't know, a bit of a leap there. And speaking of bikini babes, we go to this floating dock at the beach where the fireworks are going to happen, and there's a fin swimming all around them. Nobody sees anything yet, naturally. So Curtis calls the cops again and tells them like where to find them and says like, hey, if you think I'm doing a prank phone call, I'm going to be at this fireworks show. You can come and arrest me. And again, the cops do nothing. Fucking useless. And so we go back to the beach and everyone's getting ready for the fireworks show, setting up chairs, barbecuing. And then we see this little girl playing at a dock and she's got like this floating boat attached to a little string, this little toy boat. And then her mom calls her back and so she like ties it up to the dock or whatever. And then we just see the boat kind of get pulled underwater. So I guess the shark really wanted the toy boat for some reason. Sure, why not? And at the same time, I'm like, oh, that's boring. Just eat the fucking kid. That would have been so much better. Anyways, we go back to the cop station, and then someone else calls, and they're asking about the guy who was fishing and whatnot. And again, the cops just brush this off. Like, nope. Okay. And the gang goes to Jones's, and Molly and Curtis show mom and dad all the weapons that this dude has. And then mom is like, I'll be grateful for him saving us, but there was something very wrong with him. And then she's like, oh, do we need all of this? Do we need all this? Bitch, did you see the sharks attacking people? Do you need all of this? I'm like, yeah, probably. Just get on board with it. And when they were in here earlier, Curtis and Molly saw something under a sheet, and Jones is like, well, hopefully we won't need that. And so Curtis then shows Molly that there's something hiding under the sheet. We don't know what it is yet. Oh, building up the anticipation. I'm excited. Oh. And then the shark or sharks are still swimming around the beach area. Again, nobody's noticing anything. Apparently all of these people are blind to shark fins, I guess. And then the little girl goes back to get her boat, and instead she finds a bloody bikini top and then brings it onto shore. And then Harrison grabs her and tells her to go to her mom. And so she starts fucking crying and everything. And then Sparkler starts yelling, shark! And then they both start like yelling for people to get out of the water. And then Harrison's like, wow, I really thought that would work. That usually works in movies. I'm like, true enough, but apparently not in this one. So as they're trying to figure out how to get people to listen, someone is grabbed out of a floaty tube and now everyone screams. So because this one dude got bit by a shark and is pulled under, now everybody believes them. I'm like, okay. I'm like, how did nobody see the shark fins beforehand? It had to have shown up like at least 2 or 3 times, and somehow not a single person saw this. And now Harrison and Sparkler are doing God's duty and helping the bikini babes get off the dock and onto the main dock. And then as Harrison is pulling one of them up, a Sparkler comes and stabs the shark in the gills with a firework, and it sinks down. So I'm assuming that means it's dead too. So that's 4, if I'm remembering. This is either 4 or 5. So we either have 1 or 2 kills left. So yeah, I actually do really think they killed all of them. When I was watching the movie, I didn't think they got all of them at first because I think I assumed some of these like flare gun shots and whatnot didn't kill the shark. But I think we're going with, yeah, this killed them. And it's like, okay, fine enough. I don't care that much. I would have liked to have seen more of these weapons used, like the 2-bladed katana and whatnot. Bit of a missed opportunity there, but okay. And then immediately after this, Harrison starts like hitting on her and asking her out. And then another shark comes up and tries to nab them, but Molly scares it off with a crossbow, maybe even kills it. Not entirely clear. I'm going to go with she kills it because I think that's number 5, so we have 1 more shark left. And so now the whole family is reunited. And then Curtis is still at the truck, and he's, like, pretending to be Jones. He's like, yeah, I'm Jones, and he's got the sunglasses on. Okay. And that's until, like, Harrison and everyone else comes back. And then Curtis, like, shares how awesome all the weapons are and blah, blah, blah. And then Curtis notices Sparkler, and he looks at Harrison, and he's like, bikini babe? And then she hears this, and she's like, bikini babe? And I'm like, bikini babe. And listen, it's objectifying, sure, but also a compliment. Anyways, they hear another bikini babe yelling on the floaty dock, and then Curtis says he has an idea. So the shark circles the dock, and we see that they have a wood chipper here now. I don't know if this is something they attached to the back of the truck, or this is just something that happened to be there. Okay, whatever. So Curtis loads the harpoon gun on the back of the truck. Harrison starts splashing by the shore to lure the shark in, but it doesn't work. And he's like, oh man, I need a hand. Molly finds a severed hand and throws it to him, and he's like, oh, that's gross. And she's like, huh, it's what you asked for. Ha, good one. So he starts splashing in the water with this severed hand, and then the shark starts heading his way. And then Curtis shoots the harpoon, gets the shark in the tail, and starts to reel in the harpoon. And then he reels the shark into the wood chipper and basically just turns it into Fargo chum. And then everybody's celebrating, and the Bikini Babe finally starts swimming to shore, makes it to safety. And then as Curtis celebrates, he steps by the wood chipper, and the shark's teeth shoot out the back of it and into his chest. And he's stuck with like 20 shark teeth inside of his chest right now. And then Harrison even starts pulling some out. He's like, oh, I'm going to help you. And I'm like, don't do that. When somebody has objects embedded in them, don't pull them out. That might be keeping them alive right now. It's killing them, but also keeping them alive at the same time. So, don't do that. But again, this was the missed opportunity. We could have had Curtis get swallowed whole by a shark, and then he pulls the pin on the grenade. And I don't think we ever see this grenade come to fruition. If we did, I don't remember it, and it obviously wasn't a memorable enough moment. But yeah, there's a lot of like missed opportunities so far, which is a little disappointing. And Molly comes running over. She's very sad, but Curtis ends up dying, unfortunately. So she grabs the crossbow and starts heading for the water. Harrison follows her and starts yelling at her. And then also, I should mention, this crossbow shoots like deer antler arrow things. It shoots like modified deer antlers, basically. So pretty fucking cool. And yeah, Harrison's like trying to calm her down, and she's like, no, I'm gonna go do it. And he's like, well, I'm gonna help you. And she's like, no, you have to have my back. I'm gonna go do it. And they do that whole like fucking back and forth thing. And so he sighs and he's like, are we really gonna do this? And she's like, I learned from the best. You mean from Jones, the crazy old man that you knew for like 3 hours, and now suddenly you're fucking Rambo? Ugh, all right. So they go to the bed of the truck, and we finally see what was under this sheet. And it's Bigger Betty. So it's just a bigger version of the fucking air cannon that they had before. That's all it is. And then the sheriff, we go to the sheriff's office, and they're starting to get phone calls in about the shark attacks and whatnot. And so, like, now they're starting to take it seriously. I think. They don't even really seem to be in that big of a rush, so I'm like, are you taking it seriously? I don't really know. And also, I don't think we ever see these police officers outside of the sheriff's office, so I kind of feel like this was just kind of filler. Like, we really didn't need any of this. You could have just had, like, the one phone call where they don't believe him, and then it's kind of left it at that, but whatever. And then back at the beach, Harrison and Molly start looking for stuff to put in the air cannon, and they find some shit and grab some fireworks, obviously. And then Molly says she needs to get closer, so she goes to the floating dock, and she leaves Harrison behind, basically. She's like, oh yeah, go grab me this, and then we'll go to the dock. And so she leaves him behind so she can take it on herself, I guess. And so she starts setting up on the dock, but the sharks are hiding, I guess. She's like, I don't see any of them. I don't know where they are. Until one of them hits the floating dock, of course, and then Molly falls over, and she drops the lighter in the lake. So she needs the lighter to set off the fireworks, obviously. And so she yells at Harrison to go find her another one. But then Sparkler pulls one out of her pocket. Sparkler here to save the day. Sparkler, who's never seen a sparkler, she at least knows and, like, has a lighter. So that's something, at least. So Sparkler hands the lighter over to Dad, and he throws it to Molly, and she catches it one-handed. She lights one of the firework bomb things and says, you should have stayed in the ocean, bitch. And then the shark jumps at her. She shoots it. The shark goes flying up into the sky, and then it explodes, raining down just kind of blood and shark bits everywhere. This sounds really cool, but I should mention this is at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, so it's not really as impressive looking as it could have been, but it's still pretty cool. It's still really great. But that's the last kill of the movie. So yeah, I think we were at 5 or 6, maybe 7 or 8. But like I said, I think a couple of those were just like the shark wasn't actually dead. But that's the end of the movie. We just kind of roll credits after that, and that was it. Goddamn, that was pure fun. Just pure nonsensical. The kind of shit that I'm here for, man. It was a blast. There's things I wish they would have done better, like the shark stock footage didn't really match and was just kind of weird. Like, I wish they'd either used like stock footage of bull sharks or something. And I guess like the average person watching this isn't gonna fucking know the difference, but still. I honestly wish they had just made more shitty CGI sharks instead of the stock footage, honestly. I would have actually preferred that. Because this is the type of movie that, like, the bad CGI lends to the fun of it, and it doesn't really take away from the movie. Because, like Misty's other movies, it doesn't take itself too seriously, like I said earlier. And, like, they're having fun with the genre. Like, this is the kind of stuff we're here for. And when I first put this movie on, I thought the kids were, like, way older. I thought they were, like, 25, 30 years old. But I looked up some of the actors, and I know the girl playing Molly was at least, like, 20, 21 maybe, so they're not as old as I thought. They're not that far off from playing high school students. I think that they just kind of look older than they actually were. But overall, the acting is kind of what you'd expect from Sci-Fi Channel shark movie. Maybe a little bit better than some other ones. I don't know, that's definitely something that's up for debate. But yeah, overall, it's just a fun, entertaining movie. It's not necessarily one I would watch like super often or all the time, but I definitely throw this one back on again in the background. I mean, unlike last week's movie, like, we still had bikini babes, bad CGI sharks, buff dudes, but this just works so much better, and it uses all those elements to its advantage. So I think I'm actually going to give this a 3 stars. I think the Letterboxd score of 3.5 is pretty on par. It's pretty spot on. If there was, like, a little bit more gore and more of the CGI sharks underwater, or just more of the deaths overall, I definitely would have given this a little bit higher of a rating. But we did get some practical effects. You know, a lot of the shark fin shots seemed practical, which is an easy enough thing to do. And I would like to see movies do this more often and then incorporate the CGI stuff as well. But yeah, I don't really know what else I can say about Ozark Sharks. I had fun with it. It's available on YouTube. There's a couple of different channels that have it, so make sure you go and check them out if you think this movie sounds like a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with it. So, but yeah, that's all I got for you guys this week. As you know, you can find me on all of the social medias. That's Slasher, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all at Bucket of Chum Podcast. And like I said, if you could like, subscribe, leave a rating, all that fun stuff, I would greatly appreciate it. But for now, I'll see you guys next time for even more Bucket of Chum.